Welcome to Carnival Row Season 1 Recap. But before we start the recap, I want to let you guys know that I have recapped more series on this channel and will continue to recap a lot more. So if you enjoyed that type of content, consider subscribing to this channel. Alright, let's get back to the recap. Premise: Carnival Row is set in a world where humans and mythical humanoid beings whom have fled their war-torn countries are living together in the same cities, causing social issues of when any two or more groups of people of very diverse cultures are forced to live with one another. Vignette Stomas escapes packed soldiers onto a ship with other Fey folk she has helped flee packed occupied Feyland. A storm at sea leaves Vignette the sole survivor. The ship belonged to Ezra Spurnrose, who lives with his sister Imogen in one of Berg's richer neighborhoods. Having lost a significant profit in the shipwreck, he expects Vignette to work as a lady's maid to his sister Imogen. Vignette goes to Carnival Row on an errand, meeting her old friend Tourmaline, now a prostitute, who reveals to Vignette that her lover Philo is still alive. Now a police officer investigating violent attacks on Fey folk, Philo realizes the suspect is a sailor. He tries to catch the assailant, but the man, before committing suicide, warns him that a dark god has awakened under the city. Vignette then tells Philo that she knows he's alive. Imogen and Ezra are shocked to learn that their new neighbor is a faun named Agreus. Meanwhile, Absalom Breakspear, Chancellor of the city, faces strong opposition from his rival Longerbane. Breakspear and his wife Piety discuss their son Jonah, whom he warns not to visit Carnival Row. A Fey named Aisling is murdered near the sewers. Philo learns Aisling was a singer turned scavenger and asks a Fey butcher to perform an autopsy. While drunk, Ezra attempts to rape Vignette and she assaults him in self-defense. Ezra files a police complaint, accusing her of stealing. Philo overhears this and buys Vignette's contract from him. Ezra then reveals to Imogen that they are financially unstable and he plans to give the house as collateral to the bank to procure another ship. But Imogen has her own plans and writes to Agreus, reciprocating his interest. Now free, Vignette joins the Black Raven, a rebel Fey group dealing in contraband, and is tasked to steal a flag from inside the police headquarters. She succeeds by blackmailing Philo into letting her escape. At Carnival Row, Jonah is kidnapped while visiting Tourmaline. Without a ransom demand, Piety suggests they consult the Haruspecs, who sacrifices Absalom's pet bear and tells him Longerbane kidnapped his son. But it is revealed that Piety is behind the kidnapping, asking the Haruspecs, her family's loyal servant, to lie. A flashback reveals Philo and Darius were soldiers with the Bergish army, occupying a Fey village near a telegraph line. Sent to investigate whether the Fey folk are a threat, Philo finds a library guarded by Vignette, who threatens him to stay silent and is ordered to keep a close eye on him by her leader, Mima. Vignette helps the Bergishman fix the telegraph line across a ravine, where they are attacked by pack soldiers who morph into Maroks, a type of wolf man, by using injections. Darius is bitten, turning into a Marok, which Philo promises to keep secret. Tourmaline and other Fey seek refuge at the village when their home is attacked by the Pact. Vignette then confronts Philo about their future, and he reveals he's a half-blood orphan who had his wings cut off as a child to pass as a human. News arrived that the Berg has ordered its troops home. The Pack then attacks the village, and Philo asks Mima to tell Vignette he is dead, to protect her. In the present, Vignette tells Philo she will keep his secret, but their love is finished. Finch, headmaster of Philo's former orphanage and his foster father, is killed. Philo encounters the killer in the sewers after finding that it left the footprints of a faun and a troll. A priestess explains to Philo that the creature may be a Dark Asher, a golem reanimated from various corpses with dark magic. To prove this theory, Philo has the Haruspecs create a Dark Asher bonded to him. At Imogen's, Agreus agrees to support her if she helps him gain acceptance from her peers. Suspecting Vignette is an informant, Dahlia, the leader of the Black Raven, orders her to find the real informant or die. Tourmaline forces Philo to reveal the informant is Hamlin. Vignette attacks Hamlin, but he overpowers her and Philo shoots him dead. Dahlia promotes Vignette in Hamlin's place after bringing her his wing, while Philo takes his landlady Portia on a date. Meanwhile, Absalom agrees with Piety to take Longerbane into custody until he confesses to kidnapping their son. With Longerbane on the brink of death, Piety poisons him, telling Absalom where to find Jonah. Jonah is then returned, but recognizes the sound of Piety's heels from his captivity. As the Dark Asher cannot be killed while its master lives, Philo searches for its creator. Over Ezra's objections, Imogen invites Agreus to a tea party with her friends, which proves humiliating when he insists on being treated as their equal. As Agreus prepares to leave, Ezra swallows his pride and permits him to stay, and Agreus gives him a check. Philo returns to the orphanage, revisiting painful memories, and meets with the assistant headmaster, who reveals that Finch often traveled to the Tetrabai for companionship. Longerbane's ambitious daughter, Sophie, assumes his office and declares her opposition to coexistence with the Fae. Enthralled by her, Jonah grows distant from his family. At Tetrabai, Philo learns the truth. Finch was in a secret relationship with police coroner Morange, who confesses that Finch knew Aisling in his younger days, leading Philo to deduce that Aisling was his mother. That night, Morange is murdered in his home by the Dark Asher, while Quill, Jonah's former servant, joins a secret society of fauns. Philo's fellow police officers become suspicious as he seems to be making no progress on his case. Meanwhile, Jonah meets Sophie and learns she abhors her father's politics, but cannot afford to alienate his supporters. She tells him that they are very much alike, but he is still under his parents' thumb. Philo tells Portia he's a half-blood, and she ends their relationship and kicks him out. Vignette then discovers her homeland's library is on display at the Burkish Museum. Enraged, she harasses the patrons and is arrested for trespassing. During a procession, Quill witnesses a fellow faun being beaten by an abusive human, which for him is proof that humans will never accept the fauns. Imogen accompanies Agreus to a charity auction, where he impresses her with his wit and humiliates a couple who insult her. Later, Constable Dombey forces Portia to reveal Philo's secret of him being a half-blood. When Berwick tries to explain Philo's theory about the Dark Asher, Dombey and the magistrate are convinced Philo made that up to disguise the killings. It is then that Philo is taken into police custody. Dombey hopes Philo will be killed by human prisoners, but Vignette warns him and he fights them off. The Haruspex then warns Piety that she will die soon, and that the police have the wrong man. Guilt-stricken, Portia tells the police she lied about Philo. The magistrate offers to free Philo if he swears he's a man, but Philo admits he's half Fae. Hearing this, Dombey plots to have Philo murdered before trial. Hired as Jonah's tutor, Runyon points out Jonah's lack of purpose, driving him to accept Sophie's offer and force his father from power. Ezra tells Imogen that Agreus will cast her aside, and in her defiance she visits Agreus at his home, where they confess their mutual feelings and have intercourse. Philo and Vignette reconcile, and realize the killer is Philo's father, who wants to rid himself of his half-blood son and has been killing those close to him to learn his identity. Then Philo is removed from his cell. However, instead of being killed, Philo is taken to an estate to meet his biological father, Absalom Breakspear. Absalom prepares to kill Philo, believing Philo to have killed Aisling, but Philo convinces him that he did not kill her. Swapping stories, Absalom promises to free Vignette. However, back at his mansion, Absalom is stabbed by Quill. Piety then reveals to Jonah that Sophie is his half-sister from her affair with Longerbane, and Jonah realizes his father always suspected he was not his biological son. Later that evening, Piety smothers her husband and inspects his liver, learning of Vignette's existence. Piety, the real orchestrator of the killings, sends the Dark Asher to kill Philo, but Vignette frees herself and stabs Piety with a pair of shears, killing her and her monster. As his mother's body has not been found, Jonah assumes the role of acting chancellor, with Runyon as his chief advisor, and deduces that Sophie was responsible for the blackmails by convincing Piety that Philo, not him, was destined for greatness. Nevertheless, Jonah forms an alliance with Sophie. Catching Agreus and Imogen sleeping together, Ezra tries to shoot Agreus, who strikes him. Agreus and Imogen then flee, taking Agreus' ship to find a new home. In light of the uprisings, Jonah establishes a ghetto for the Fae, forbidding them to leave the Burge or interact with humans. Embracing his Fae heritage, Philo joins Vignette and the other Fae in the ghetto. Thank you all for watching, and see you on the next recap.